Good morning, everyone. Tim Nyland here. Today is Wednesday, February 17th, and this is our weekly strategy call for Zacks Professional Services. Each week, we focus in on what's moving the market. If you have a particular topic you'd like me to explore in a future video, please leave me a comment below. You can check out previous strategy calls on our channel, and you'll also find many more videos on investing and making the most of Zacks Pro platforms. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button below to make sure you never miss any of our future calls. Today, we're going to pick up on the Pursuit of Hyper Growth series that we ended at the end of last year. And we are going to take a look at the automotive semiconductor sector, specifically the chip shortage that's currently underway. And this is going to be, again, an extension of the call that we had on December 30th. The Hypergrowth Cornering the Semiconductor Market with 4 Stocks webinar. And I've got that image here up on the screen so you can see exactly which webinar that is. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, I definitely recommend watching the Hypergrowth Cornering the Semiconductor Market with 4 Stocks prior to watching this particular webinar. It would be an excellent foundation for you. So again, just to reiterate, one of the slides that I discussed back at the end of December was thinking about these big picture shifts in technology and certainly having an impact now in the automotive space as well. Again, the demand for chips overall is massive and it's growing each year. Current estimates for chip demand over the next year still stand at roughly 1 trillion chips. 2020 global population is estimated to be around 7.8 billion. And if you do the math, that equates to roughly 128 chips that will need to be manufactured for every man, woman, and child on Earth over the next year. So again, if you think about the number of global chip designers, global manufacturers, coupled with the number of global industries they serve, the prospect of being able to successfully navigate this entire landscape would literally require a team of full-time researchers at a minimum. What we're going to do is just expand with the framework that I proposed on December 30th and discuss the challenges surrounding the automotive chip space. Again, a very small subset of this larger picture that we began to look at on that December 30th webinar. And then we're going to look at 4 stocks that are poised to benefit from the need to expand the global chip foundry capacity. And the reason we're having this discussion, obviously, it's been in the news, it's been everywhere, it's been all over the papers, what's going on in the automotive industry. Everyone from Nissan to Honda to Ford to GM to Volkswagen, they've all cut production. And it was this particular article in the Wall Street Journal that kind of triggered the need for me to kind of share my thoughts with everyone regarding the real reasons behind what we're seeing right now in the automotive industry. And this particular article does a really good job of laying out just the number of workers we have in the United States that are all, employed and potentially affected by this chip shortage in the automotive industry. There's literally hundreds of thousands of jobs. And the article points out that we definitely need more investment in U.S. manufacturing of chips, and we need more incentives, and I couldn't agree more. But the issue here is that the title of the article itself, administration seeking to fix the chip shortage. There really is no fix to this chip shortage in the short term, and that's what I wanted to outline for everyone here is kind of how we got here, which is probably the most interesting part of the story. You'll all note that from the discussion we had on December 30th, I stated that all roads lead to Taiwan Semiconductor. If you do the research and you lift the hood, you'll find out that this is even more true for the automotive chip industry. So if you look at the top 3 automotive chip designers, they account for 80% of the auto chip market. So that's Renesas, NXP, and Infineon Cypress. The same 3 automotive chip designers use Taiwan Semiconductor to manufacture at least a portion of their chips. So again, all roads leading to Taiwan Semiconductor. So what happened is the pandemic scare 1 year ago triggered a sudden drop in automobile sales. We all remember that. The issue was the automobile manufacturers cut the microcontroller orders. They all did except Toyota very early on in the pandemic. Interestingly enough, regarding Toyota, it was just last week that they said that they came out and announced that they actually had a stockpile of chips that could last as long as 4 months, and they were not immediately expecting the global chip shortage to hit production. They did this as they raised their full year earnings forecast by a larger than expected 54%. So Toyota obviously sitting in the best shape of all of the larger automobile manufacturers. But keep in mind, and we started talking about this in our 5G webinars last March and April of 2020, that the server and PC manufacturers, the wearable device manufacturers, cell phone manufacturers, they all increased their semiconductor component orders in response to the pandemic and 5G cycle. Apple did in response to their iPhone 12 super cycle, all the new iMac chips using the new M1 chips with ARM processor technology. I mean, you name it. I mean, we literally just exploded with demand for chips last year, and the pandemic was obviously part of that fuel. So Taiwan Semi immediately began operating at capacity with higher cost and higher margin, what I'm calling ex-auto chips. In other words, the automobile chips are very inexpensive. A lot of these chips that are in the automobiles are fabricated on manufacturing techniques some 10 plus years old. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. So these are relatively inexpensive chips. So Taiwan Semi immediately began filling orders for the higher cost server chips, wearable device chips, cell phone chips, you name it. So the demand for autos quickly returned, but again, Taiwan Semi was already operating at capacity with higher margin chips. So the idea is Taiwan Semi did not produce excess capacity for the auto industry. I mean, why would they? Think about it. The chip manufacturers outside of TSM, there are many of them, but again, many of these automobile chips are still built on the 200 millimeter fab wafer technology. That technology is literally 10 plus years old. That fab equipment is very expensive and hard to come by. It's old. Semiconductor plants take several years to build and can cost hundreds of millions of dollars to construct and set up. Taiwan Semiconductor is building new chip foundries already in Arizona and Tokyo, and Samsung is building a new chip foundry in Texas. So there's simply no quick fix to the automotive chip shortage. Expectations are that this is all going to work out by the third quarter of 2021. And what I want to do is just take a look at 4 stocks expected to benefit over the next several years from the expansion of the global chip foundries. So the very first stock is ASML Holdings. They have proprietary technology on the photolithographic machines used to light etch integrated circuits onto silicone wafers. They do compete with Canon and Nikon, but this has been called a near monopoly because they have over 60% of market share in etching due to this proprietary extreme ultraviolet technology that allows them to do a lot more granular etching than their competitors. This is an example of the price and earnings chart and the run that ASML has literally been on since the end of 2018 as a result of everything expected to take place in the expansion of the chip foundries and the updating of all the equipment that etches chips. Again, this coming out of the Zacks Research System price and earnings chart. This is an example of the Zacks Research, specifically the one-page tear sheet report showing the Zacks Rank buy. Next stock is going to be KLA Corp. This is going to be literally all your manufacturing process diagnostics and control equipment, yield management solutions. This is all, again, required to fabricate semiconductors and integrated circuits. So you can see similar price action here on the price and earnings chart since the end of 2018. Okay. Next slide is showing the actual analyst written Zacks Research report. The previous slide was the previous research report on ASML was the one-page snapshot. This is going to show, obviously, the Zacks Rank buy for KLA Corp. Any of these reports, if you want to take a look at them, are available in your advisor tools system. They're also available in the Zacks Research System, and we can make them available to you if you just go ahead and send us an email or give us a call. At the end of this webinar, there'll be contact information. You can reach out to us. More than happy to share that with you. Stock number 3 is going to be Lam Research. And again, Lam Research literally from A to Z supplies everything required for wafer fabrication. This is everything from cleaning equipment and services, basically to the entire semiconductor manufacturing industry. It's also a diversified company. They do a lot with RAM and other things. But again, that similar price action since the end of 2018, you can see this trend. It was already well underway before COVID. And then you can see what happened once COVID hit and the need for semiconductors just literally went parabolic with all the computing requirements. Okay. This is going to be the Zacks Analyst Written Research Report, at least the first page of it for Lam Research, again, showing that shorter term Zacks rank of a buy. And the number 4 stock, again, all roads leading back to none other than Taiwan Semiconductor. World's largest manufacturer and getting larger with 2 additional foundries planned, one in each of the US and Japan. This is literally the go-to for all of the chip designers. They've got the most options on fab, everything from 200 millimeter fab all the way down to now the 3 nanometer fab, 3 nanometer transistor fab. Again, they're manufacturing chips for Apple, they're manufacturing chips for Amazon, for NVIDIA, for AMD, you name it. Taiwan Semi is everywhere. Okay. And this is an example of that snapshot report again for Taiwan Semi, showing the Zacks rank of buy. So 4 stocks expected to benefit from the expansion of global chip foundries. Again, a little bit more on Taiwan Semi. In Q2 of 2020, Taiwan Semi became the world's largest semiconductor company, okay, passing the likes of Intel, NVIDIA, and Samsung. Most advisors are not aware of the fact. This is true, obviously, because Taiwan Semi is not a member of the S&P 500. So this is obviously an opportunity to add alpha over the S&P 500. They remain 2 years ahead of Intel in the 7 nanometer transistor fab cycle. And Taiwan Semi is already working on the 5 nanometer, and they're already active on the 5 nanometer with Apple's new M1 chip, which is all ARM based. And they're also working on the 3 nanometer fab, so quite a bit ahead of Intel. And again, they manufacture chips across all industries, not just the automotive industries. Right now, the automotive industry only represents 3% of Taiwan Semiconductor's revenues. So they manufacture chips for all industries across all of the market leaders. So AMD, Apple, NVIDIA, and Amazon. I think I already mentioned that. But the idea here is the automotive industry only represents 3% of revenues for Taiwan Semiconductor. So the takeaways here are there are many other good semiconductor equipment and service providers, such as Applied Materials. They currently have a hold rating. I recommend that you guys watch the Zacks rank and Zacks recommendations off the research reports and the snapshot reports. The current Zacks rank buy rated semiconductor equipment and service providers are the ones that we just discussed today. ASML Holdings, KLA Corp, Lam Research, and then obviously Taiwan Semiconductors. These are all good leadership names for you. Okay. That's about it for this week. Thank you all for attending. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button below and be sure to subscribe for future videos. If you have any questions or requests, please leave a comment below or feel free to email me at tnyland@zacks.com. You can also follow me on social media. I'm on LinkedIn and my Twitter handle is @TimNyland. If you're interested in getting started with advisor tools or the Zacks Research System, or you're just looking to upgrade your current subscription, please contact our world-class support at advisortools@zacks.com and zrs@zacks.com. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you next week.